Right then folks, first things first, this is not going to be a full review of the brand new BMW R 1300 GS. This is my bike. I've just picked it up from the dealership, so I've got to run it in. So I'm not going to be able to properly stretch its legs. I'm not going to be able to properly stretch its legs and really test the bike out to full. That is coming. I bought this bike on Thursday, it's now Saturday, and on Monday it's going in for its first service. I will be honest with you, I've already done 250 odd miles on this, and I had filmed everything from the second I picked it up. And it was all on my lovely GoPros. I went out yesterday just to chip away at the mileage, but before I went out I thought I'll just format the SD cards, so I've got a clean slate to start the day. Thinking that I'd copied all the footage over. You know what's coming, folks? Yep, I hadn't, so I just deleted everything. Awesome! Let's forget that and we'll pretend that we're back at the start. Look at this.
And here she is, the brand new beast. Oh, oh wow. That actually looks a lot better in the flesh, doesn't it? Liking that. See, I thought the back was going to be... In the pictures, the back looks like a cross tourer, doesn't it? The Honda. But that actually looks really quite good. Oh, yes. I like that. That material on the pot heads, that's lovely. It's lovely, isn't it? Is that because of the engine corrosion that they were getting? What engine corrosion? We're not admitting that. Jeez, the exhaust's tiny. I think that's the smallest standard can I've ever seen. Right, we need to get this out in the light for proper shots. But that is the new beast. Let's go and have a play.
So what is running in? Right, well, when you buy a new bike, and by that I mean brand spankers straight out the showroom, when you get that new engine, what you need to do is this running in procedure, which is like basically babysitting, taking the engine by the hand and just gently introducing it to what its life's gonna be. Right, I've just asked the Oracle, my mate Mooley. I said, Mooley, because that's his name, why do we run in an engine? And about 9 hours later, I think I come away with this. Ultimately, it's to do with the pistons forming a proper, tight, nice, efficient seal with the tube in which they sit. So your piston's that thing that goes up and down like that inside the engine. Sometimes you have one, sometimes you have lots, depending on your engine. That needs to create a really good sort of seal against the walls that it travels up and down in. And when you're running in the engine, you're trying to make sure you're trying to get this thing hot but not too hot. You also don't want it to be too cool, which is why you work your way up and down the gearbox and you vary the rev range, and you're not supposed to just sit at one sort of speed for any prolonged period of time. You're supposed to just work your way up and really vary the engine as much as possible. So that's why. Mooley also told me there's a very good vid by Fort9, by Ryan of Fort9, on exactly this, and I've just watched it. My vid's crap. Go and watch his. I'll put a link down below for you. But come back to my channel, please, because I'm going to be doing a first ride review of this quite soon. Right, back to me. Same whatever. And you're just increasing things all the time, gently adding that load. Certainly you need to have at least sort of 400 miles done before you get that first service. Some manufacturers recommend around about 600, and I think the max normally that's accepted is about 1,000 miles. And you take the bike along to the dealership, they do that first service, and it's just oil and filter, that's all it is. And the reason they have to do that is because it's a brand spanking new engine, and all the cogs, everything, all the internals of the engine, they're all learning to work together. They're all introducing themselves and getting on, and what happens is you get tiny slivers of metal start coming off just as everything starts to bed in and fit together and mesh properly. And those little bits of metal, they're now within that oil, and you don't want them there forever because they're going to cause issues. So you get that run-in period done, They flush all that old oil out, replace it with brand spanking new oil, a nice new fresh oil filter, and that is it. Out you go and enjoy yourself. Normally I run them in a day. I'll literally pick the bike up and I'll go straight down to Land's End and back, and that's me pretty much 600 miles done. However, that was the plan for this one, but Mrs. Teapot very kindly reminded me that on Thursday, when I picked the bike up that evening, we were going to Tower of London for the ceremony of the Keys event, which I'd totally forgotten about. So I managed to do about 150 miles that first day. I did another sort of 200 odd miles yesterday. So we are at currently 314 miles at the moment. So I've got at least I want to get another 150 odd done today. And then by the time I do the run down to Group 1 BMW down in Brighton, it shall be ready for that. Oh, this is interesting. For that first service. Let's just let me load. I'll tell you what, I know this isn't the review. I know this isn't the review of the new GS. I'll do that as soon as I've got it running. But already this is a considerable step up and forward from the 1200 and 1250 GS. This is a completely new bike. Literally everything is new with this bike, but I'll go into that in the full review vid, so make sure you check that one out. Right, I'm 400 odd miles in now. I think we just crossed the 400 mile mark. Ooh, sheesh. There is so much grot on these little roads. Whew, that gets the old ticket going. You know, you need to warm up the engine effectively. This is what you're doing here. So the engine's now nice and warm. Everything's sort of introduced. But I'll tell you what, this is not a review, but I will tell you this. This engine is glorious. It's undeniably punchier than the 1200 and 1250. Literally from 2,000 revs you can feel the pull, it's there. What used to be at like 3,500–4,000 revs, pardon me, 3,500–4,000 revs on the old 1250, 1200s, it's bang, it's there at like 2.25 now. But looking at the stats, I think the maximum torque and maximum bhp, that is around the 7,500 I think. And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure you will in the comments. I think for the 1250 it was around about the 6.5 mark. The sort of max power is just a little bit further up in the rev range. Which I tell you what, geez, if that is the case, this is going to be one heck of a weapon. Interesting van in front. You see what it says on the back? Wealden Dogging Championship 2023. Coming to a car park near you. Right then, 503 miles at the moment. That'll do us. We'll get this in for its first service, and I will get to ragging it and give you a first ride review coming next. Alright folks, hope you've enjoyed this one. Keep doing your thing, look after those that you love, but most importantly, most importantly, live your life. Woo-ha!